continue on my own path and walk towards my own liberation. Knowledge can be taught, but wisdom can only be attained by oneself. Like the Dunning-Kruger effect in psychology points out, we are easily distracted by external information, used to examining ourselves through others' eyes, and hence, cannot see ourselves. We easily read and absorb others' thoughts, but those thoughts merely become a reflection of others, never truly our own. We also never see ourselves because we try to apply others' ideas directly to decorate our own minds. As this book says, most people are like fallen leaves tumbling in the wind, ultimately returning to dust. Very few are like stars in the sky, moving in a fixed orbit. No wind can sway them because they live seeing themselves, living by the laws and traces within themselves. If you want to achieve true transformation, you must see yourself, break away from your ego, and in each breakthrough of life's trials, find awakening. I know that being dissatisfied with oneself, constantly questioning, and seeking answers in every way is a very challenging process. It can cause an immense sense of discomfort, but only by daring to create cracks in reality can one follow the light and enter a larger world. Like Sakura once said, to live life to the fullest, it's important to have an attitude of recognizing the limitations in your current life and then finding ways to overcome them. First, see yourself to recognize the narrowness of your thinking. Recognizing limitations and understanding is the first step towards self-transformation. See the world, meet people to cultivate the mind, and encounter events to refine the character. After bidding farewell to Govinda and the Buddha, Siddhartha began his journey to seek wisdom in the world. He eagerly experienced worldly life, learning how to make love from the courtesan Kamala and how to make money from the wealthy merchant Kamaswami. At this time, he remained vigilant, treating everything as a game. However, human forgetfulness works silently and effortlessly. When the senses were deceived by the frenzy of reality, Siddhartha lost his way. He could no longer control himself and sank into pleasure. Worldly laziness drowned him in the greed for possession and never knowing contentment. He endlessly sought excitement, striving for more intoxication and dreams in his mundane life. Addicted to gambling, he no longer showed kindness and sympathy for beggars as he used to. Someone once said that, like toothpaste, human desires are hard to put back once squeezed out. You see, overinflated desires have caused many on this earth to lose themselves, falling into endless greed from which they cannot escape. Siddhartha initially chose to run away from desires, only to become the very person he despised in his youth. Therefore, one day, without saying a word, he went to the riverbank, intending to plunge into the water and end his life. But as he stepped into the water, a voice from deep within made him suddenly awaken. I must experience greed, pursue wealth, fall into the abyss of despair, and learn to resist them. Learn to accept the nature of the world and rejoice in belonging to it. Like Thoreau wrote, I believe that nothing passes without leaving a trace. For the present and future life, even the smallest steps we take are meaningful. In this world, no effort is ever wasted. All past experiences are essential training in our lives. Every foolish mistake is training, every awakening is training, every joy and sorrow is training, and every beginning and end is training. Life is often like that. If you haven't experienced it, you won't understand. Many people still complain that they hear these truths too often, yet life remains as miserable as ever. But you need to understand that truth is not just for hearing. Without experiencing pain, there is no deep understanding. Wealth can be earned, knowledge can be learned, but experience cannot be passed on. You must explore it yourself. As one writer said, life is a training ground. No matter how many methods you have, you need to practice them in reality. Without flowers falling and water flowing, how can there be a world? Without the challenges of human life, how can one reach maturity and transformation? So, you have to go out, go and experience, to see the world, see people to cultivate the mind, and see events to refine the character. Like Thoreau wrote in Walden, live alone in the forest, for life is not about how much you get, but how you experience it. A person truly is the sum of all past experiences. I am everything of those I have met, things I have encountered, joys I have experienced, sorrows I have tasted, and I am who I am now. Without experience, there will never be understanding. Life is a journey of experience, and the world we live in is the best school for practice. See all beings, accept, and let things flow naturally. After awakening, Siddhartha walked along the river and met the ferryman. He decided to stay and learn how to row from the ferryman. The ferryman, like a wise sage, said to Siddhartha, "The river knows everything. You can learn everything from the river." Siddhartha often sat by the river, releasing all distractions and listening to the sound of flowing water. Until one day, a weary woman wanting to cross the river stirred up the once calm waters. That woman was none other than Kamala, Siddhartha's former lover. When Siddhartha left, she had become pregnant, gave birth to his son, quit her trade, and wholeheartedly followed Buddha. This time, she brought their son on a pilgrimage, unexpectedly encountering Siddhartha. Unfortunately, before they could exchange a few words, Kamala was bitten by a venomous snake. In her final breaths, she entrusted their child to Siddhartha. He gazed at his old lover, recalling her youthful beauty, and suddenly felt how fleeting the world was. The appearance of his son stirred an unprecedented love within Siddhartha. He tried his best to nurture and care for the boy, striving to win his heart. However, faced with an unfamiliar father and a life of poverty, Siddhartha's son rebelled fiercely. He was indifferent, lazy, and even said, "I'd rather be a murderer and go to hell than stay with this so-called father." The boy wanted to leave. The ferryman advised Siddhartha, "Everyone must go through life alone. Children have their own way out." But Siddhartha wouldn't listen. He worried for his son and insisted on keeping him to protect him. In the end, after a fierce struggle, the boy sneaked away one morning. Siddhartha was in agony, trying to catch up with his son, but as he ran, he suddenly remembered how he once forced his own father to agree to let him leave for ascetic practice. How similar was the situation then to now? Life is like a cycle. All irredeemable sufferings will return. In despair, Siddhartha returned to the river and listened to the torrent of wisdom. Previously, he always insisted on distinguishing the different sounds of the water. The laughter of the wise, the cries of the angry, the weeping of the yearning, the moaning of the dying. Thousands of voices crowded the human mind. But now, without being obsessed with a particular sound, he listened to everything and found that all joys, sorrows, laughs, and cries blended into one. Siddhartha decided not to resist fate. He realized that without letting go of the ego, freedom in life would never be attainable. He understood his son's rebellion, escape, and choice. Then, like a river containing thousands of voices, accepting, embracing, and reconciling with all the imperfections before him. True awakening is amidst the chaos of the world, allowing everything to follow its natural path. Everyone in the world is like a flower, ultimately blown in different directions by the wind. Each has their own way. Those who leave, don't hold back. Those who arrive, don't be too eager. Live with an awakened and calm mind, letting unwillingness become readiness, misfortune become happiness, nothing become everything, and free yourself from all obsessions in your heart. Since its publication in 1922, Siddhartha has been translated into dozens of languages and has become a spiritual destination for countless people, because we can see ourselves in Siddhartha's journey of life. From realizing one's limitations and daringly venturing into the path of discovery in youth, to pursuing fame and material wealth, seeing all the gains and losses in life in middle age, and finally achieving complete enlightenment. Understanding that as long as the heart is at peace, every moment in life can be fulfilling. Life should be a continuous journey of self-discovery. When your eyes see it all, when the sail can cover all roads, you will see all the dust, and ultimately understand what this vast world truly means to you and open the awakening within yourself. Know that we are the origin and the destination of ourselves. When you immerse yourself, personally experience life, and love it, what you will have is a meaningful life. The author understood that the opposite of truth is also truth. Love or hate, good or bad, gain or loss, life or death, presence or absence, past, present, or future. They are all a unified whole within each of us. Let go of obsessions and prejudices wrapped up in the so-called pursuit and possession. Go out, experience, explore, and love this complex yet immensely tolerant world. And a bit of an aside about the symbolic meaning of the river in the work. Many of you might wonder after reading this book, what great wisdom does the river possess that it could enlighten Siddhartha to become a Buddha? Because the river keeps flowing endlessly, yet it is always here. It's always here. It remains the same at every moment, but is also completely new in every instant. The river is both unchanging and constantly renewing. Clearly, this characteristic of the river contains the essence of the dual self within a person, the individual self and the eternal self. It is said to be unchanging because the eternal self is always the same. It is said to be constantly renewing because the individual self is ever-changing. As Thoreau said, a man exists only when he changes, and only by continuously keeping from changing does he exist. So what is change, and what is constancy? A moment is eternity, and time is the junction of all change and constancy. When the subject no longer perceives the existence of time, then on the level of thought, it not only unites the two opposing selves into one, but also dissolves the differences of the world, meaning that at this point, the world now becomes a harmonious and unified whole in his eyes. And finally, to end today's video, I will use a sentence from the book to send to all of you. I no longer compare this world to the perfect world that I want. I accept this world, love it, and belong to it. Thank you for listening. If you find this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to take the time to reread, study, and contemplate this timeless novel yourself. I firmly believe that in each different stage of your life, every reading will bring a different profound realization. May we all awaken and live fully. And lastly, don't forget to support the channel with a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to catch the latest videos I release every week. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.